Hey everybody, welcome back to Single Malt Sunday. Stephen here, NWSmallBatchBrewing. This is my segment of my channel where on occasional Sundays when I get a new whiskey, I pop the cork and try it along with you with whatever you're drinking on any given Sunday. So it is a warm day here, so I'll go as quick as I can. And this one is special. So I was at work and I noticed that somebody or the mailman had been dropping something off at my door. And I was like, I didn't order anything. And so I got home and luckily it hadn't been stolen off the doorstep. And I'm looking at it and I was like, it's from a different country. Well, I know I didn't order anything, especially not from another country. Anyway, it turns out fellow homebrewer sent me a bottle of whiskey to try. My understanding is that he said that this is kind of like his go-to whiskey to drink. And he wanted me to try it out on Single Malt Sundays and see what I think. So I'm going to try to open this without, revealing any address information because that would not be polite. Wow. All right. So this is the Balvenie. Hang on. And I'm going to get some of this tape off if I can. I'm just going to cut it because I don't want to, I don't want to destroy the outside the box because this tape will rip it. All right. So guys, can you see that? The Balvenie Double Wood. Give me 1 second here to get this knife put away so I don't hurt myself. Single malt Scotch whiskey, 1892, matured in 2 distinct casks. Let's see, complex, rich, and smooth taste. 2 different types of oak, whiskey oak, sherry oak. I mean, whiskey oak is not an oak, but okay. Many years of maturation in traditional whiskey casks mellows the maturing spirit and imparts a warming layer of vanilla. All right. It says first cast, so first fill whiskey. I believe this is a first fill whiskey, this company. Meaning they got a barrel of bourbon, well, used barrel of bourbon, and it hadn't been used for anything else but the bourbon. And when they do that, it's called a first fill because they didn't use that for anything else. So first fill cask. Just a, ex-bourbon barrel by the looks of it. And then further matured in a sherry oak cask. European, of course. Increases complexity, fruity, blah, 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 blah. Does not say what kind of sherry. I'm just looking if there's anything else. 40% ABV. Here we go. Well, is this... Oh, this is a different language. I don't know. It looks maybe like it's French or German or something. I don't know. So maybe that's the side that was facing you and you were like, what the heck? By the way, I do want to point out, so the last single malt whiskey video I did, I was kind of giving it a hard time because it was only like 700 milliliters instead of like 750. And I thought they shorted me. Having done some research again, I found out apparently in Europe, 700 milliliters is kind of the standard. And so probably the bottle I had last time was, bottled in Europe and for sale in Europe, and therefore was 700 milliliters because that's how they do it there. All right, before I get this, actually, let me open it, and then I want to, I popped up the computer here because, I didn't know what this was. And so I decided to, open it in front of you and not look at it and try to get any additional information before. Sorry about if it is loud. Yikes. All right. All right. Yikes. All kinds of stuff. All right. Looks nice color, huh? I like the bottle too. Holy cow. This is going to take some getting off. He really taped this up because he wanted to make sure that it got here and didn't leak and was safe and secure. Wow, this is quite a gift to send like this. This is only the second whiskey I've ever been gifted, by the way. I was gifted Dalmore from my younger brother at a Christmas which I still enjoy and have, and that was fantastic. So this is pretty amazing to just be only the second one I've ever gotten from somebody for any particular reason. Is this thing okay? I thought it was actually additionally taped beyond the tape. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there on this. Let's see. Should I just take off the whole kit and caboodle? There we go. Woo! I knew we'd get there. I'm gonna open it first before I start looking it up because I love that sound. I just want it to breathe a little bit, you know. That's usually the best way to go. All right, let me turn the English side here toward you. There we go. Hopefully it's on the camera. I can't tell. All right, so let's look this up, huh? Balvenie double wood, right? So, in case you're wondering, I'm asking AI to tell us about this whiskey. I have never done this, by the way. I don't do this for my videos. I'm just curious what AI says. Balvenie is double wood. Is actually the Balvenie double wood, 12-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey. It's very well known and highly regarded, says somebody. Particularly appreciated for its double wood maturation process. I mean, I feel like that's a little bit of a... I mean, any sherry cask finished whiskey is double wood, right? Because the Scotch is always going to be matured like in an ex-bourbon barrel. So, I mean, that's kind of a marketing thing, I think, if I'm not misunderstanding, right? Like the double wood, it is double wood, but I mean, all sherry cask whiskey would be that way. So here's the breakdown that makes it distinctive. Oh boy, here we go. The Balvenie distillery is located in Speyside. So this is Speyside whiskey, owned by William Grant & Sons. It's unique in maintaining a lot of traditional whiskey making crafts on site, including growing its own barley, malting, and having its own coppersmith and coppers. I'll keep reading for you because it's interesting, but I'm going to just take another smell here. I don't smell a lot of sherry on this. There is kind of that, there's a smell that the Dalmore has that's very distinct, that this one has a little bit of. Almost like a stone fruit, you know? Which I guess makes sense with the sherry, but... Okay. Interesting. I get a lot of stone fruit on this. It's very sweet on the finish. It's very approachable because of the 40% ABV, right? It's not going to kick your butt. It doesn't really burn too much going down because it's such a low ABV. There's a lot of, I think you get a lot more of the fruit flavor and the sweetness because of the lower ABV. Definitely honey and stone fruit. Let's see what else it says here. This whiskey's matured at least 12 years. We kind of figured that out. It says in American oak ex-bourbon barrels, which gives you the vanilla and honey. Yeah, there's some vanilla. I can see that. Mostly honey is what I was getting. It then undergoes a second period of maturation, about 9 months, in first fill European oak Oloroso sherry casks. By the way, I mean, sherry casks are always going to be oak because sherry's made in Spain, so I don't think you need to call it European oak. Anyway, the sherry cask finish adds depth and richness and flavors and dried fruit and spice. I didn't get any spice, really. Nuttiness? Nah, I didn't get any nuttiness on this one. Finally, before bottling, the whiskey is often transferred to a large oak vessel called a tun for a few months to allow different cask-matured whiskeys to marry harmoniously. All right. Do we want to know what the AI says about the flavor and the nose and the finish? For the nose, like I said, stone fruit, plums, right? That's a lot of what I'm getting. Not much alcohol. There's on the back end of the nose, there's a lot of sweet, like honey sweetness. What do they say? Expect sweet fruit. Oloroso sherry. Well, I mean, Oloroso sherry. That's not really a good nose note to because it was in a sherry barrel, so of course. Honey, vanilla, like I said, there's on the, I don't get that much on the nose, but definitely on the palate. Some people detect notes of baked apple, cinnamon, and clove, blood orange, and nuttiness on the nose. I can see the apple. Yeah, I can see the baked apple. I'm not sure about the others. I mean, you have to, here's the funny thing, like, I wouldn't get baked apple unless I had read it and then gone back and been like, do I smell that? Yeah, and cinnamon, the cinnamon, yeah, I get that. I get all that. It's good. The palate is smooth. I agree. We hate that word with whiskey, though. It's mellow with a beautiful combination of nutty sweetness. I don't know about nutty, but cinnamon. There's some cinnamon on the nose for sure. On the palate, a little bit. You know, I get, yeah, there's cinnamon. Cinnamon and spice. I get it. I got you. Honey is the very prominent note for many. There you go. That is exactly what I got right up front. Along with vanilla, apple, pear, sometimes hints of dark chocolate and fruitcake. Woof, I don't get that. I'm not getting the dark chocolate and fruitcake, but, and I mean, I guess you could get pear, you know, but for me, it's more stone fruit. And finally, the finish, generally long and warming. I don't think it's a long finish, to be honest, in my opinion, with oak, pepper, clove, and burnt almond. Well, that is not at all what I get on the finish. Remember, when you're reading tasting notes, everybody's palate is different. And if you're reading notes that are from the manufacturer, they're going to tell you like what they think is going to sell, not necessarily what really is going to taste like. So don't ever go with what's on the bottle or, you know, something like that. You always go by another person reviewing it because they're going to give you what they're tasting, not hopefully, not what's, you know, the tasting notes on the bottle. But for the finish, yeah, I don't get any of that. Like I said, the finish for me was a lot of stone fruit sweetness and honey, and mostly on the very end of the, you know, on the finish of it. All right. Overall impression from AI. We're almost done, by the way. I just didn't have notes for this, so I thought it'd be fun to kind of see what AI said. Overall impression, Balvenie Double Wood is often described as an accessible, well-balanced, and smooth, there's that word again, single malt. It's popular choice for both new and experienced Scotch drinkers, offering a good balance of traditional bourbon, cask notes, and richer influence of sherry. Well, some might find it not hugely complex. I agree. It is balanced and enjoyable, and is frequently recommended as a gateway single malt. I don't know if I'd call it a gateway single malt. Everybody's palate's different. I kind of feel like, you know, for everybody's gateway is different. For me, smoky Scotch got me. That's what sucked me in. And then I started learning about sherry cask finished, and that just cemented my feet in the ground. I mean, so this one, I mean, I like that it's sherry cask finished, but I'll be honest, I get not as much sherry influence as I do with some of the other ones. I like, if I'm getting a sherry finished whiskey, I want it like a sherry bomb. You know, I want in my face, and this doesn't quite take you there. This is very gentle. You know what this reminds me of? I don't know if I can reach the bottle from here. Well, I can. It reminds me a bit of Hibiki. So Hibiki is, you know, a Japanese blended whiskey. It's not sherry finish, so you don't get the sherry finish on this, but you get that honey and very like delicate notes, right? This, to me, this is sort of delicate, and that's why I agree with them that it's not very complex. It's pretty delicate, but I do like that I can kind of pull out every flavor. That, you know, sometimes you drink a whiskey and it's like, oh, what am I tasting? Like I just can't get one. It's too much. It's like a mess, right? This one is very distinct. Like you can absolutely pull out the honey. You can get the apple, the spices, the cinnamon, the clove. You can definitely get like the stone fruit and the sweet fruit, and the honey is like front and center. That's why it reminded me a little bit of Hibiki, because Hibiki for me is like a big old honey bomb. So yeah. So what do I think of this? Because I think my friend Bruce wants to know like an actual, like, not just a description of the tasting and everything, but he wants to know what I think of it, because this is his regular drinker. I'm not going to put water in it. It's already 40%, and there's no way that's going to help. It's just going to be watered down. Here's what I'd say. I like it. I like it. And I agree with him. This would be a daily drinker. Like, I don't know the cost, really, because I've never looked at this one. So it depends. But if it's not too expensive, it would definitely be a daily drinker. I like the fact that it's lower ABV, so it's approachable. You know, that makes the daily drinker. I like that you can pull out all the flavors, the sweetness from the honey. Is it my favorite whiskey? No. I have some favorites, and maybe one day I'll do a video, even though I've already reviewed them all, you know, with you on a single malt Sundays. I might just do like my top 5. But again, that's my personal preference. There's no reason to think that they're better than anything else. This is definitely up there, though. I like this a lot. You know, it's funny. You probably can't see it, but I have Teachers up on my top shelf, which is a really budget, and it's not a single malt. But that was that one's kind of my daily drinker because it's very inexpensive. It has a little bit of smokiness. It's for a $20 or whatever whiskey. You know, it's crazy how good it is. I mean, it's still $20. It's still not a great whiskey, but you know, if you want a cheap daily drinker, if this one is not so expensive, I would say this would blow that out of the water. I would drink this one over that any day. So anyway, I know I went over on this. I never go this long on a whiskey video, but you know, it's the first time someone sent me a bottle of whiskey to try on the channel. So I wanted to do it justice and really dive into it. And yeah, I like it. I like it, this one. I like the bottle. I like this particular bottle shape that has like the little bulb in the top here. I don't know why. It's kind of old-timey looking, and it like gives you something to hang on to. I like it. Anyway, I'm going to stop yapping at you, and hopefully you were able to have a little whiskey along with me with whatever you're drinking. I'll be back on another Sunday at some point with another new whiskey, and until then, sláinte.